feel like you're right, you feel like you can debate us about various different topics, then let us know.
What's the topics? Music. The wisdom that we drop, because we're always dropping wisdom.
Always.
And sports, all levels, high school, collegiate, professional, both genders. We will discuss it all. Just be patient, because there will be a lot of names on the list. Be respectful, because we have fans and we want to be respectful and keep a specific image. And third, just take accountability, because you're going to be wrong. And remember, stay sensational.
So hop on front row seat and give us your opinion.
Call, debate with us. We're debating it all. Oh, I got slip. Oh shit, we're gonna do it again. I ain't know.
Welcome to Front Row Seat. I appreciate y'all for joining us. Of course, as usual, I'm Jay.
I'm Rel.
And man,
It's a special day. It's a real special day. You know why it's a special day?
Why is that?
Because I was just, on the drive here,
Right.
I was just thinking, about our brotherhood, and, I appreciate you as a friend and as a brother. But it's a special day because I get to expose you as a person with terrible takes, terrible opinions. Where's the camera? He told me.
I did.
He told me the best athletes come from DMV. Now listen, I'm not from the DMV area, so there's no disrespect. I love the DMV. I don't want any smoke. But what I'm saying is, I disagree, 100%. I'm from Connecticut. Not too many athletes come from Connecticut. Shout out to UConn. But the DMV, the
Absolutely.
best athletes. So we're just gonna ignore Illinois, Chicago. We're gonna ignore Georgia.
No, it's not ignoring.
We're gonna ignore Florida.
We acknowledge them. We acknowledge Florida,
acknowledge
Atlanta, LA, New York, all of them. Y'all have great athletes. But DMV level athletes, I don't know. You know we the best. Like, stop fighting it, bro. That's all I'm telling you. Like, just serenity.
Before we even get off this topic, I just have to ask.
Okay.
So how many athletes come from the DMV? Professional athletes?
Numerous. At least like, I'm thinking more than dozens. If we talk,
You think you're top 10 in the country?
We
You're
gotta
not.
have at least
You're
one.
not though. I have the stats right here.
Okay, bring 'em up,
Maryland,
bring 'em
Baltimore, Maryland, number
Right,
15.
right.
In DMV, the V stands for Virginia.
Right.
Virginia is number. There's a lot of scrolling. The Virginia is number. Can't tell you because it's not even on the list.
But here's the thing: when you're talking about DMV, we're not talking about all of Virginia, all of Maryland. There's a very specific area which is considered a DMV, the DC metropolitan area. If we look at the athletes that came from there, Chase Young, Kevin Durant, Victor Oladipo, Sean Merriman, Adrian Dantley.
So what you're saying is you have to combine different areas just so you can make your point.
Nah, not at all. They all the same area.
That's
So
all
for
I
everybody who's in the DMV, you know that we in the same area. We in the same area. You know what I mean? You got DC and the metro, and everywhere the metro stretches to is considered a DMV. From that specific area.
Ever since KD, everyone from the DMV is like, oh, we got the best athletes. Ever since KD. You know what KD's doing right now? KD's probably doing the same thing what we're doing right now. Wanna know why? Because he's not playing basketball.
That's correct. That is correct. But he got 2 rings, right?
Oh, here we go.
2 rings. The
Here
rings not
we
matter
go.
anymore.
They do. They
Okay.
do. But when is KD going to get it done by himself? We see with the Suns he couldn't do it. The Nets he couldn't do it.
That is a great question.
Come on now. We don't need to get on that. Let's talk about the new face.
The new face.
We can both agree there.
We can both agree that the new face of the league. You think who I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
On 3.
2, 3.
Anthony Edwards.
All right, cool.
Okay,
We cool
okay.
there. We cool
Absolutely,
there.
absolutely.
Anthony Edwards.
And even though I'm a huge Kevin Durant fan, man, they had no answer for him, bro. Absolutely.
I thought they would.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I had Phoenix in 6 due to experience from Kevin Durant's part and Devin Booker's part, and Vogel. That's a championship coach with the Lakers.
Right.
Bill doesn't have too much playoff success, but he's been there a numerous amount of times. I didn't expect them to get swept like that. I didn't expect them to get swept.
Me neither.
I didn't expect not one game, and
Yeah.
Bill didn't show up at all.
What did he say before the last game? He said, "I'll be damned if I get swept." Well, you got swept, brother.
I appreciate the accountability he took after he got swept, but it's like, bro, come on, man. Like, 9 points and fouled out in game one. Excuse me. In game one, he only had 15 points.
Right.
You got to give me more than that. You got to give me more than that.
If we want to discuss the big three of the Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal, he did disappoint me. I cannot lie. Kevin Durant did his thing. As usual, we can expect Kevin Durant to put up his 30 a night, especially in a playoff series. But Devin Booker, this series was huge because to me, it was going to establish who was the leading two guard in the league. Who's going to be the face of the two guards? Devin Booker, I had you coming out on top just because of experience. You've been to the finals before. You got a few years on Anthony Edwards, but he proved to be the better man tonight, without a doubt.
I mean, obviously we see who's starting when the Olympics come around. And speaking of the Olympics, I'm gonna let it be known now, I'm a Lakers fan, diehard Lakers fan. I'm not one of those new fans, but you know, it's all right. We lost.
Y'all got y'all didn't get swept.
Gentlemen sweep. Just like last year, it's not like, I mean, a loss is a loss, but we didn't get. I feel like we put up a better fight than Phoenix did against the Wolves. We never lost by double digits. It was all close games. It all came down to the wire. In my opinion, I feel like it all came down to coaching. It came down to coaching and the others. Denver's performance from the others, like KCP's defense and his efficiency on the offensive side. Right. Michael Porter Jr. is nothing to even speak of. Aaron Gordon. There's so more I could say, but there are others. They was the outcome of that series. Joker's gonna be Joker. Jamal Murray's gonna be Jamal Murray. LeBron's gonna be LeBron. AD's gonna be AD. Reeves didn't show up. D'Lo didn't show up. Rui was there once in a while. D'Lo showed up at least in Game 5.
Right, when it was too late.
Vanderbilt was injured. Christian Wood didn't get no play. We have Anthony Davis playing the 5 when he already said he's uncomfortable. He likes playing the 4, which is why we won that ring in 2020, where it took a lot of stress off him because he was playing the 4. Man, I can go on for days. I don't want to talk about it.
If we want to discuss the Lakers' performance versus the Suns' performance, I would definitely say that y'all put up the better fight. But that is part of the reason why I'm more disappointed in y'all, because if we look at the minutes and we look at the times where a specific team was in the lead, y'all had more minutes where y'all were leading the score. But
speaking of minutes, I don't got time today. Let's talk about another series.
Hold on. No, because you're trying to escape the 25-20 Nikola Jokic put up Game 5, and I know you don't want to talk about what Jamal Murray did to Austin Reeves. First, Darvin Ham, I have a question. Why is Austin Reeves set to be the man guarding Jamal Murray? We know in the playoffs he turns into a different person.
Jadakiss voice. Why?
Anybody else on that roster? Literally, I would rather have Gabe Vincent guarding Jamal Murray before I put Austin Reeves on there. No disrespect to Austin Reeves because you did your thing in Game 5, but, man, I just wish that Rui, D'Lo, and Austin Reeves, like you said, had kept that same energy up throughout the entire series because they each gave us 15 in Game 5. Where was that same energy at throughout the whole series?
But I have a few questions. I'm done talking about this. This last thing I'm talking about with this series. But I do have one small question when it comes to this. Two questions when it comes to these games. Why are we running? It looks like we're running man in the last few minutes of the game. And we seen Jamal Murray come off the screen and just annihilate whoever's in front of him. Like, why not we run a zone? Why not we switch screens when at least the last few minutes, the closing of the game, where Jamal Murray seems to expose whoever's there. Whenever we're running a man coverage, why not go zone? 1, 2. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong on that. But 1, 2. In the late few minutes of the game, like the last few minutes of the game, we had a challenge. We had a call get overturned because we challenged it. We retained our timeout. We never used our timeout, unless I'm mistaken. I don't remember us using our timeout. Murray hits the shot with 3.6 to go. Like, what happened to the timeout? They said Lakers had no more timeouts, but it was like, wait, we won the challenge. Why? I was extremely confused on that part.
It's like y'all
I-
inbounded the ball trying to make something out of nothing. LeBron went for the flop to try and get the foul, but it didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
But where did that timeout go?
Yeah.
Like I'm genuinely confused on that. If we won the challenge and we retained the timeout, why wasn't it called? Or we obviously didn't have it because I don't know who the commentator was, but he definitely said Lakers out of timeout. Bron has the ball. And it was like, wait, we're out of a timeout. I was confused. I was like, wait a minute, we just won a challenge. So Knicks and Philly.
Ooh, if we want to talk about Knicks and Philly, I got something to say about Jalen Brunson. He is my second favorite player in the league right now after Ant. And his grit is something that we don't see out of many guards in the league, period. Like
The craftiness is insane.
the craftiness plus the scrappiness, you don't really see both of those in one player. Then we have, like you point out all the time, his Villanova teammates, DiVincenzo and then Josh Hart, who both are like perfect substitutes of each other. They both can do the same thing: shoot, rebound, defend.
It's like turkey, provolone cheese, and honey mustard toasted. It's like all three of those things. Why are you looking at me
Perfect
like that?
sandwich,
Oh, I
man.
thought you were about to say something about the mustard.
The mustard is like, I would prefer mayonnaise, personally.
What?
Personally,
That's disgusting.
no, you're disgusting.
That's disgusting.
Who is eating mustard?
Who's
for real?
eating mayonnaise?
What is mustard? You don't know. No. But nah, back to
Back to the series. But nah, it's like a great mix. Like it's literally like watching 2018 Villanova, like without Mikal Bridges, of course. But that mixture, you got Josh Hart. Josh Hart has always been this kind of player, but now he's like, well, it's not now. He's always been this kind of player, but now it's just, I don't know. It's just a little more oomph to it. Like he's so much more prominent in his role. Like he had like 5 points and 22 rebounds. Like he's like a smaller Draymond Green. He's like another Marcus Smart. Like he's the Knicks almost have everything. Like from the hustle player to the rebounder to without Mitchell Robinson. What's his name? Number 55. Hardstein.
oh yeah,
Bro,
Hardenstein.
that dude's incredible.
Hardenstein is great.
When DiVincenzo hit that game winner, that rebound that Hardstein got, it got overlooked like Chris Bosh's rebound did in 2012, I believe it was, or 2013. But it got overlooked. But still, it's key players and key plays like that can win you a championship, that can get you to the next level. I still think Knicks are missing one piece, but not from Philly.
I absolutely agree. OG Anunoby is also a great addition to that team. The defense he brings and his
Absolutely.
3-point shooting. And Mitchell Robinson, whenever he's healthy, he is one of the best pure rebounders in the league, in my opinion. One of those, like the traditional type of glass cleaner, which I think really needs to come back to the league. Your Lakers could use a type of player like that, honestly.
All right.
Honestly.
All right. We don't got to keep going back to.
We gonna
I had a death in the family the other day. When the Lakers lose, that's like a death in the family.
It's a death in the family, man.
That's a death in the family.
We give our condolences.
Ain't you a
man.
Wizards fan?
We don't need to discuss that.
Okay.
We don't need to discuss that.
But speaking of healthiness, we can't get past this. MB, what are you doing? What was that, game 3 where Mitch Robinson fell and he grabbed him by the leg?
That was
now
disgusting.
if that was MB, we would have seen this.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I don't know when they're gonna call that. I mean, it's every effing game.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, it's all right. We're the better team. We're gonna get past this.
When it's up to him, when things don't go his way, and B cries like, I hate to say, and B cries like a 2-year-old toddler.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's be
does.
honest. That's how he
Yeah.
got his only MVP, from crying like that. And then you blatantly try to injure someone by pulling them down like that. If you're gonna foul, professional athletes know how to foul. That was ridiculous. And I'm a fan of Embiid, but seeing that I'm a fan of playoff basketball and grittiness and aggression, not dirty players.
Yeah,
that was
definitely
dirty.
not. That Joel Embiid
And coming from
foul,
the defending MVP, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
Mitchell Robinson is in midair. We know that Mitchell Robinson has a similar frame to Joel Embiid, and since Joel Embiid has also dealt with serious injuries in his career, he should have some more sympathy and some more consideration. He's in midair. Let me not yank his leg because he could fall and have a career-ending injury. You know what I mean? And the East is just it's I'm more surprised than anything after watching this playoffs because I personally thought that the Celtics were going to sweep the Heat. I was incorrect. I was very surprised that the Heat got to win a game in that series. Without Jimmy Butler, that was amazing. Tyler Hero, I give him his props. Bam Adebayo, even though he didn't have a great Game 5, I give him his props as well. But Boston, man, even though they lost the game, they're looking dangerous, bro.
Bam needs the ball every possession. Every possession at this point. But Spo is a great coach, so I'm not going to sit up here and act like I know what I'm talking about. I'm not an expert. Spo is the ultimate expert. That's my favorite coach in the league.
Right.
No, it doesn't look like he's going to get this done without Jimmy Butler, but one thing I say is they've been getting blown out. But to steal that game 2, that just shows the level of Spo. And although it's going back to Boston, up 3-1, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami can steal that game and lose in 6, because they're gonna lose.
They're gonna lose. This game.
But
is
I don't
over.
know, because the Garden has been a hard place to win at this season. They started the season 17-0 at home, and they're going back to Boston up 3-1. So it might be over. What they play tonight, right? It might be over tonight.
It's over with tonight. I can guarantee you that they'll take this loss. But
Yeah.
I'm very surprised by what Miami has been able to do, especially winning Game 2 in Boston. But if we want to look at the Milwaukee Bucks, and
Hey, goodbye. Look, I'm a fan of you, Dame. I'm a fan of you, Giannis. Bobby Portis, I'm a fan of you as well. You need to be smarter with the decisions you make. Swinging on I don't know the athlete's name, but swinging on him mid-game when you have your 2 star players hurt, that's a decision that you have to be smarter than that. Like, that's ridiculous. Chris Middleton, I loved your craftiness. Like, I appreciate your game. I'm a fan of you as well, but it's over. You gave Pacers way too much confidence that I didn't expect. This series is over.
way too much momentum, and I'm very surprised after them beating them in that in-season tournament that we had. How can you let this team then beat you in that playoff series, especially when this is a young team with very little experience? Tyrese Halliburton is young. He doesn't play much defense. You know what I mean? And then you got Damian Lillard and Giannis. They're making me eat my words. At the beginning of the season, I was talking a lot of big stuff about how they was going to be the number 1 team in the East. I genuinely thought that. You have Damian Lillard, who is a 3-point threat, unlimited range, and has the clutch meter of any great clutch player. I'd put him up there with Kawhi. Then you got Giannis, who is an unstoppable force, like a modern-day Shaq. How do they not get it done? They both can't stay healthy. And then, like you said, we got their teammates like Bobby Portis not making responsible decisions. You cannot make those decisions in game time.
You know why I keep doing this?
Why?
I don't think this is a celebration no more. I think this belongs to Tyrese Halliburton. Until Dame comes and takes this back.
Yeah, he stole his watch.
He
stole your rollie.
Yeah, he stole your rollie. Go get it back.
Go get it back.
Go get it back.
Next season. Because it ain't looking like
You better
y'all
walk
gonna
up on
get
him. Yeah, I just wanted my watch back. Tyrese like, what watch? Oh, you right? What watch? It's over. He ain't getting it back.
The last series I'd like to touch on is my personal favorite one I'm watching in the first season, which is going to be the Clippers versus the Mavs, man. What do you think about that?
That's not my favorite series, but that is a dogfight. I'm excited. Every game I'm excited to watch that. I think it was they lost, but I think it was game 3 where Clippers went up 2-1. Kyrie scored 40 points in 3 quarters. He didn't score at all in the first quarter. Then he went to the second quarter, didn't miss. He went to the third quarter, went crazy even more, and closed it out had an insane closeout in the fourth quarter. He had 40 points in 3 quarters. Luka had like 28, 10, and 10, and that was the post conference where Luka took accountability and said, "I feel like I'm letting him down." Although I got Clippers winning this, I just want to say there's so much potential for this Mavericks team, for someone like Luka Doncic. for him to have a triple-double in the playoffs and his co-star has 40, for him to sit there, look at the camera and say, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I'm letting him down.
Humility.
Man, that's a different type of humility.
Yeah.
That's a different type of selfless player. That's who you want as your superstar.
Absolutely.
Like that.
That's
when
my
I
MVP.
seen that, I was like, oh man, it's and people was doubting them because of the 16 games they had together last season. And it was like, bro, it was only 16 games. Give them a full season. You see what they can. All right, if they lose to the Clippers, then they lose to the Clippers. But Clippers is also a potential finals winning team right
Absolutely.
now. But now that we're looking at it, the Mavericks is looking like a possible finals contender team. That rookie Lively, Jason Kidd and his coaching schemes, the way Luka Doncic and Kyrie complement each other, you don't get guards like that all the time.
You don't.
You see it a lot. Beal and John Wall, it didn't work. Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, it didn't work. Brunson and Luka, that seemed to work, but it seemed like Brunson's was become like the way he was blossoming. He needed to go be by himself, and he needed to lead someone instead of being a number two.
Exactly.
But those two, it's like 1A, 1AA. It's not even 1A, 1B. It's 1A, 1AA. Like it's different.
I love their spacing on the court. I love how they're both two players. While Luka is definitely the better playmaker out of the two, they both have range. They both can score at will when driving to the basket. What Shannon Sharp said, I love his position on ESPN, but I completely disagree. Kyrie Irving's post game is impeccable for a guard of his size. Definitely, he has his way in the paint. He can always kick it out to Luka. Both of their playmaking is elite. Then I love the Mavericks GM decision to bring in Daniel Gafford. And bring in Washington. Like, these are huge players that can fit into their system perfectly. And then for the Los Angeles Clippers, while they are looking a little sketchy to me sometimes, they do have me worried a lot of times when watching this series, but I love what Westbrook's doing off the bench. James Harden's his in sync pick and roll plays with Zubac.
Insane. But I think sometimes when they look a little like, I don't want to say confused, but just different, where you like something's missing. Like why they don't seem to click right here. I think it's them not being used to not having Kawhi on the floor.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard will really take them to that
And
next.
they don't have like a set pattern. It's like 1 minute he's there, things got to change. Like things get adjusted. Next minute he's not there, things get adjusted even more. So it can be a little bit confusing. But with the talent like Paul George, James Harden, Norman Powell, and Russ coming off the bench, that talent, and then you got a championship coach, and then you got people who have a lot of playoff experience and a little bit of finals experience,
right,
and a finals champion, whether Kawhi's playing or not. That talent and that IQ level, I think that makes up for the confusion.
And they are very underrated role players, from Coffee to Terrence Mann. I love what they have in their system, and they have so many scorers. Everybody on that team can score the basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, they can.
But
let's talk about my favorite series though.
What's that?
I know neither are gonna win or make it to the finals, but Cavs and Magic. I love to see it. That's a real competitive series right there. No one's talking about it because it's the Cavs and Magic. No one has them going to the finals. But I love to see competitive basketball. I love to see real basketball. Everyone's playing their heart out there. Game 1, Magic looked nervous because there's so many young guys there, and it's a lot of them. This is like their first time in the playoffs. In Game 1, I want to say the third quarter, although you can tell the Cavs were a step ahead every time in every possession. They was a step ahead of Orlando. Orlando perseverance was insane. They never gave up. They stayed coachable, and that proved in Game 3 how they went back to Orlando and took over.
Yeah.
And I said to you before, the only way they can win a game or a series is if they go back to Orlando and find a magician, and that's exactly what they did in Game 3 and I believe 4.
I will definitely give my props to Paolo. Paolo Banchero, I say this all the time, he reminds me of a young LeBron. And even though that is a huge stretch because young LeBron was an athlete we had never seen before, I love Paolo's versatility. I love the way he uses his reach. He uses every inch of his length when he's scoring the basketball.
He's so aggressive.
Extremely aggressive.
He's aggressive.
I love what Wagner's doing. Their duo
Michigan.
is honestly something special. The Cavs are the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell is one of those players that I always have respect for, even though he has kind of fallen out of the debate for the best two guard in the league, in my opinion. I love what their team has. I love what Mobley brings defensively. Darius Garland, I think he is a tough fit on that team. I personally don't see him staying for too much longer on that roster. But both of these teams, although I agree with you, they're probably not going to win this year. If they each make some moves, especially Cleveland, they could be in really nice positions.
Garland and Mitchell remind me of your Washington, D.C. days with Beal and Wall. Although they complement each other well, and they can surpass that play-in bump of like not being in the play-in.
Right.
They don't have that. You know, Allen is a great piece to have, but they don't have no legit killers. They don't. I just don't see it. Now something can be adjusted and added because you have the defense from Evan Mobley. Shout out USC. You have the craftiness from Mitchell and Garland. You have Jared Allen and Jared Allen he's been amazing in this series. But they're still just missing a little bit. Me personally, I never thought Jared Allen was aggressive enough. You know, in this era, everyone's friends, but that's how Jared Allen plays. He's playing with a bunch of friends, and it's like it's playoff time.
Yeah.
It's playoff time. There should be no. The youngest person in the I don't know if he's the youngest player, but one of the youngest players, Anthony Edwards, has said on multiple occasions, "I just want to kill everyone in front of me," regarding the basketball as his weapon and the court as his setting. He doesn't see no one, and that's why everyone loves Anthony Edwards. That's why people are infested in the Timberwolves.
I love how
and not everyone else, because I don't see that from other teams.
I love how Anthony Edwards holds his teammates accountable. The clip that we had seen earlier today when he had told Cat Williams, man,
Cat Williams.
Nah, not Cat Williams. He a little too short. But when he had told Carl Anthony Towns, we could have really had the edge and really kept our foot on their necks much earlier in the game if you had just cut out the fouling. I believe that Cat had said something along the lines of, well, I was trying to play more defense, and then Ant said, with this exact face, well, just stop fouling. You know what I mean? And I respect that.
Stop explicit fouling. He looked at his brother and said, "Stop effing fouling." We're not gonna say it,
right?
But we know what he said, and just that, having the youngest player on your team already possibly taking the potential face of the NBA, to have him hold you to that accountability, and you've been here, it speaks volumes.
Huge.
It's like we're witnessing something great, and I'm grateful to say we could witness this, because although I'm a Lakers fan, die-hard Kobe fan, when Kobe was drafted, I wasn't even born, so I wasn't able to really see Kobe until his last 2 rings, his last 3 finals appearances. But to be 24 and to witness this from Anthony Edwards, it's astonishing, honestly.
I couldn't agree more. And to transition topics a little bit, it's Tuesday. It's April 30th. We know what happened earlier today. We know what was released. That Kendrick Lamar diss track.
Euphoria,
that was a killer track, but you know my opinions on this rap.
It sounded like something I wrote, because I got into this car accident back in 2019.
Right.
I broke my collarbone, and this pain spread. So when the pain spread, it ruined everything for me. I was all state in high school. That went away.
Okay. All state in what sport?
You can name them. I was doing everything.
Tennis?
No, all right, not tennis. Baseball, basketball, football. I was him. You probably can't find it now, because after the car accident, the documents had to go.
Right.
But it also hit a nerve that connected from my to my brain, where I would write rhymes and it kind of just stopped everything. But you know, but the point of what I'm getting at is Euphoria just sounded like something I wrote. It was extremely authentic. It was straight to the point. It was aggressive. The analogies was like, man, I thought it was me. It was just something. It was astonishing. But I wasn't surprised because, like I said, I thought it was me.
So if you thought it was you, right?
I'm like that. I'm really like that.
I have a question for you. So you would admit that Push Ups by Drake would be a better song than Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar, or the Euphoria that you think you would rate?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That's kind of what it sounded like, because we have to acknowledge that Drake's Push Ups is the best diss track we've heard this year. The best diss track we've heard in this entire rap beef. Euphoria was nice. It's not.
It's the best diss track we heard. Oh, hold on. No, it's not. But to your opinion, it's the best diss track between Drake and Kendrick. Because if we're being honest, the best diss track that dropped in 2024 was Chris Brown's to Quavo's.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
so let's
Quavo, stay under that rock you hiding under, respectfully. Don't come out, because Chris Brown ready to kill, man. But push-ups, though. Personally,
I do push-ups. I don't listen to them.
How you
I didn't
big
like that
stepping
song.
with a size 7 shoe on?
So you heard that and said, bars.
Bars, absolutely. Because it was funny. It's funny, it's witty, it's to the point, and it's offensive. Isn't that everything you want out of a diss track?
You see that picture? She just amazed at the
know.
BS take you just said.
Nah, she's not. It's not the BS take. She's amazed by the skill of Drake. That's what it
Where am I
is.
at? Look at where we came to in high school, in hip hop.
Right.
We went from no Vaseline to Hit 'Em Up to Common's diss track to Ice Cube to a size 7 shoe.
The way you're doing splits, man, your pants might rip. It's not fire.
I'm gonna say pause because I didn't know where that was going.
That's a pause. That's a pause. But Drake, Drake ain't saying pause. You heard what he said. He said, probably get your girl Chanel. I just got them done. Boy, don't make me have to chip a nail.
Nah, that was. I didn't like it. It wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. When Kendrick said, I don't know verbatim because you like to remember things, but when Kendrick said, I'm not Pusha P, what he said, you remember?
He said, you pushing P, what about Pusha T?
What happened? What about Pusha T? Then he said, wait a minute, let's look at the logistics. Hold on, wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken,
okay.
So you signed to her, that's signed to her, who don't even know what he's doing. So Drake was signed to Wayne,
right?
Weezy F Baby.
Okay.
Weezy F Baby was signed to Baby, right, Birdman.
Right.
And Birdman came out and said, man, they said I was robbing them and I didn't even know what I was doing.
Hey, Drake is Drake ain't giving up 50% of his contract, though. Where's that 50% going, Kendrick?
Can't give him 50% of his contract?
That's what Drake was talking about.
Drop and give me 50.
Drop and give me 50.
Yeah.
Let's see the splits.
I don't know the logistics of K-Dot's contract, so I don't know. But if that is true, that's the best. But yes, that's probably the best bar in that song. That's not the best track though. Euphoria is better than Push Ups, without a doubt. Kendrick Lamar he questioned us on why we've been listening to Drake and letting him say that word.
Like your label, boy, you in the scope right now. And you gonna feel the aftermath of what I write down. I'm on the top on the mountain, so that's why you tight now. Just to have this talk with you, boy, I had to hike down.
6.
6 out of 10?
6.
That's crazy. Let us know what y'all think in the comments, because I personally think Drake had that better diss, but we got better things to talk about, y'all. We got a guest coming in just a minute. We will catch y'all in a second with the story about a man named Len Bias, who was from right here in Prince George's County. Catch y'all in a sec. Welcome back back, y'all, to Front Row Seat. I want to first thank you, Reggie Gaskins, for joining us here at Front Row Seat. And then I also want to thank you for allowing us to use your establishment. For those of you that do not know, this is the fire station located in Silver Spring, and Reggie is allowing us to use his facility to record our podcast episode. So a big thank you to him, man.
No problem, fellas. No problem. No problem.
So I guess the first question that I would ask you is, how did you meet Len Bias?
Oh, man. When we were kids, back in like 6th grade, I'm telling my age, back in like 1976, I grew up in a little town called Lakeland, which is in College Park, Maryland, right near the University of Maryland. Me and my buddies, Busty Sherman, Doc Smokey, we were all going up to the University of Maryland, and at Bird Stadium, and the way we made our money, we would do concessions, and we would sell Coca-Colas and candy and everything in the audience. And at the time, Len Bias was selling ice cream with his uncle, and this was like 6th grade, getting ready to go into 7th grade. And back then, 7th grade was what we call junior high. You guys call it middle school now. Right. It was junior high. Junior high was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And we was 6th grade then, and it was over the summer at Bird Stadium and watched University of Maryland play. And I said to him, he was every bit 6 feet tall then. We was like 6th grade. I said, man, you play ball? He said, yeah, man, I play ball. I said, well, where you going to junior high school? He was like, well, I'm going to go to Greenbelt Junior High, right? And I said, oh, yeah, so you going to go out for the basketball team? He said, yeah, man, I'm going to go out for the basketball team. And surely he went out for the basketball team in 7th grade, and he got cut in the 7th grade, right? Then come 8th grade, he got cut in the 8th grade.
I think that was in a documentary.
No
too.
doubt, no doubt. He got cut in the 7th and 8th grade. Then finally 9th grade, he made the team. And then from there, we went to high school from 9th grade. From 9th grade, went to high school, 10th grade, which was, and back then high school was 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So we went to Northwestern High School together. And from 10th grade on, man, he just like blew up, bro. He just blew up. He just led the county in scoring blocks the whole nine just in 10th grade, and just took off from there.
Yeah. The way it was said in the 30 for 30 documentary, go check that out, 30 for 30 without bias. The way it was, I heard one description from everyone, and one word I always heard was raw. When you finally seen him blossoming into the player that he became to be, was that the one word that you could think of? Like when you reminisce on him now, is that the one word that comes to mind?
Yeah, man. He couldn't jump over, when we first got there, he couldn't jump over a Sunday newspaper. No jokes, all jokes aside. But he was the hardest working guy I knew, man. I mean, we would, in between classes, he would be in the gym in between classes. I mean, his parents would bring him up to the gym like 6 o'clock in the morning. He would work on this one particular machine called a leaper, which works on your calf and your jumping ability. And he would work on that thing like 6 o'clock in the morning before class would even start. And he was just so dedicated, man. I mean, everybody else was with the girls and doing everything, and we had our little cars and whatnot. He was always in the gym. He was a gym rat. I remember times when he would, after practice would be over with, he would say to me, hey, Reg, come back and get me about 8 o'clock. So I come back up there with my hoopty and get him about 8 o'clock or so, and he'd still be in the gym shooting. He said, Reg, I got to get 5 more shots from the top of the key. I get 2 more shots from over here. I'm like, come on, man, it's time to go, bruh. Right. And he would say, okay, I got to get 10 shots from this spot, but they got to be all net. And I'll be up there. I'm just shooting. I'm just rebounding. Okay, Reg, from this spot, I gotta be off the glass. So he was obsessed with basketball. And I was telling the kids, if you want to be great at something, anything you do, you really have to be obsessed about it. Right. Because, and especially with basketball, it's a numbers game. I mean, it's easier to make a football team than it is to make a basketball team. You take a kid like my son, you take a kid, or you go out for tryouts, you got 100 kids that's out there. You got to weed those kids down from 100 to 20 to 15 to 12.
Yeah.
And then from that 12, you got to be the best of 12. You got to be the best of 6 to get on the floor. Because when the scouts come around to see you, they're only coming around maybe the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. If they're scouting you, they want to see. They don't care who starts. They want to see what 5 is on the floor that's finishing the game. So you got to be that bad, that good to be on the floor at the end of the game, the last 5 minutes of the game. So you got to be that elite to get a scholarship today. And today, with the way the pool is today in the transfer portal, it's almost impossible to get a Division I scholarship.
Yeah.
Back then, Lynn was the most popular high school prospect in the world. I mean, we were every game that was Krzyzewski, that was Lefty Drizel, that was everybody behind our bench just watching him. And people were talking about every day at lunchtime he would have offer letters. Not what the coaches do now, tell you, I want to offer you a scholarship. Like they would tell my son, I'm going to offer you a scholarship, a verbal. Now, he had letterheads telling from every major school in the country, they wanted him to come to their particular university and play.
Man, from every
Every major college school. And if Krzyzewski or somebody wasn't behind us, every night it was a major NCAA coaches was behind us, our bench, watching him play. And see, back then, there was no ESPN. There was no social media. So you had to come to the game to see him play. So if you were outside of the gym, it was like a line of people trying to get in the gym just to see a line
To see Lynn Bias.
to come in the gym to see him play. Because you couldn't, like the kids now, you can scout a kid on YouTube. You can watch the kid on YouTube. It wasn't no YouTube back then. So in order to see Lynn play, you had to come to the gym to see him play.
So how would you say that Len Bias affected not just basketball in the DMV area, of course, but after being the #1 draft pick and
Number two.
number two, excuse me. What would you say was his impact on Prince George's County basketball in particular? Because ever since then, I feel like we've been kind of known nationally as Basketball County.
Well, the DMV has always had nothing but talent: football, basketball, DeMatha, all the high schools, Thurl Bailey, all those guys that come before us, all those guys, Sidney Lowe, all those guys that came before us. DMV has always had some talent, but Lynn was like the superstar, man. He came along. He could do it all. His jump shot was pure. He could jump out the gym. And then he was a lot of fun to play with, man. He was just a lot of fun to play with, We would come out of the huddle, coach would call a play. And I was playing point guard. Coach would call a play, and coach would say, okay, we calling this play. And then we'd get on the coach and say, scrap that play, man. I'm coming around the bench. Just throw me an alley-oop, man. And that's just how it was. We had fun, man. And looking back on it now, as kids, we didn't really know what was going on, because it was like paparazzi watching us. Everywhere we went, there was a capacity of people watching us. As kids, you didn't know what was going on. Right. But you look back on that hindsight, it was like we were like celebrities. Because everywhere we went, everybody wanted to see him play, man. Everywhere we went, it was capacity, crowd. I mean, in every gym we went to, it was standing room only. I mean, PG County cops had to rope off with the ropes. Every game, it was roped off for nobody could storm the floor.
Roped off.
Every game, everywhere we went, it was roped off.
That's dope. That's extremely fascinating to see. But as we mentioned, he did go number 2. This is like a personal question. I honestly want to ask you.
Right.
When you seen Brad Doherty go get drafted number 1, although we all know Lynn and Red had a connection, and Lynn 1 and 2 go to Boston.
Right.
When you seen Brad get drafted number 1 to Cleveland, did you have in the back of your mind like, man, that could be my friend going to Cleveland. He's better than him.
Yeah, but we knew exactly. I agree with you 100%. But we knew where he was going.
Okay.
Off the break, because Red Auerbach had came to his house 2 years before.
2 years.
2 years before he had came to the house, to the Bias's house. Shout out to the Bias's, Miss Bias. She's been a true mother, and she has been an advocate for Lynn ever since he's passed. And she's done a lot of good work in the community. I love you, Miss Bias, and Mr. Bias. So they've been through hell with their kids as far as the death of 2 of their sons. But Miss Byers has done a lot of good things in the community, and I love you, Miss Byers. But yeah, we knew we was going because Red Auerbach was over the house, and I was like, man, you going to Boston? He said, yeah. They're trying to work it out, man. They're trying to work it out. So that's where we ended up going. Larry Bird came down to Cole Field House. And if anybody know about Cole Field House was the place where all of the Prince George's County High School championships was played back in the day. Now all the championships are played at Comcast Center. But back in the day, we was coming up, it was called Cole Field House. And Lefty was the coach at the time. And at the time, Larry Bird had came down to work out with Lynn. I was there that day when he came out to work out with Lynn, and it was fascinating to see Bird and Lynn work out, man. He pretty much knew where he was going, man.
And with Len Bias being able to, play at a level of a professional athlete at such a young age, I've heard numerous people say, from my dad to numerous people I grew up looking up to in the Prince George's County area, saying, man, Len Bias would have been something special. He would have been the greatest. Do you think he would have surpassed what Jordan was able to do in his career if he was drafted to that '86 Celtics team?
That's tough to say. That's really tough to say. But Jordan is the GOAT. Everybody have this debate, but Jordan has it all. Lynn had, my opinion, he had a better jump shot going into the pros than Michael Jordan did. I mean, he was. I think he might have been a little bit more athletic, but what Jordan has done, nobody can compare to. And I can't say what Lynn would have done. I know he'd have been great, but I can't say he would have been just as good as Jordan or better. But when they played against each other, nobody called back in the day was called a 5-star camp. They was giving each other the blues. They was going at it. And then, of course, when they played against each other, when Mike was at North Carolina and Bias was at Maryland, they was going at each other again. So you got like a preview of what they would have been doing in the pros. But unfortunately, Lennon never made it.
Who won those matchups?
I think a couple of, it might have been even, but Jordan might have had them maybe, he might have had more wins, but every time they went up against each other, it was very, very competitive, man. Very competitive.
Before we continue, I definitely just want to pay condolences and respects to the Bias family, like you said. Much condolences to the Bias family, and also you can check out secondchancecare.com. That's a website ran by Louise Bias, Len Bias' mother, and also biasfoundation.org. You can definitely go there, pay your respects, and Mrs. Bias, now, like Mr. Gaskins says, she is a motivational speaker for drug prevention and drug users. So please definitely go check that out. But another question I want to ask you, Mr. Gaskins, is where were you when you heard the devastating news, unfortunately?
Oh, man, I had came home. I was working as an electrician, and I was on my way home, and I got the news that he had passed. I couldn't believe it. I pulled over the side of the road and just started crying like a baby because then everybody and their brother was calling me, man, did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? And I just really couldn't believe it. I got home, everything was all over the news, man. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I still today I get all choked up about it because we were close. He was just a good dude, man. He was a good person. Give you his last. Yeah, he was all around funny, man. I mean, joking and cutting up. I mean, we would come out at a halftime or whatever, and he would talk to the center. He would tell the center, hey, look, beginning a game of jump ball, he said, look, try not to get dunked on today. Yeah, he kept us going, man. And then he was so humble because I was like team captain, and he was the baddest thing on the floor. He would always give love to me and say, we want to thank our point guard, Reg Gaskins, we're going to thank and even some of the guys that didn't even play, he would mention them in his interviews. He was just a humble dude, man.
Yeah, it's a true tragedy. After me and Rel, we already knew a good deal about Len Bias because he's etched in basketball history. But after watching the documentary Without Bias, I feel like I can say this for myself. I'm sure Rel can agree that it truly opened our eyes to how detrimental the crack and cocaine epidemic was to the black community in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I guess what I want to ask you is, one, it's a two-part question. One, what was your personal experience seeing crack and cocaine kind of flood the community at the time? And then two, how would you say Len Bias's death affected the entire national war on drugs led by Reagan?
Oh man, I mean, at that time, you know, cocaine at one time was only affordable to the rich, and then when they broke it down to crack, they made it affordable to the hood, the neighborhood, right. And that's what really broke us down. You know, just like they put liquor on every and liquor stores on every corner to break us down, and the war on drugs just emphasized after Lynn died. It just put a lot of emphasis on what's really going on in the community and why they're just destroying us. And the whole epidemic, it was an epidemic, man, because once it became affordable, then it became affordable to the regular Joe Blow, because at one time only the rich could afford that drug. Right. And when it broke it down and became affordable in the neighborhood, it just destroyed a lot of black men, a lot of black people, a lot of people, period. So, I mean, it was a rough time in those 80s, man, for that.
Yeah, it's definitely tough to hear. And you hear all the stories, you know, the movies, you know, paid in full. Although it's used for entertainment purposes, you never really understand the pain behind it all. But before we wrap it up, just want to say, was there anything in the 30 for 30 that you wasn't able to say, or maybe they cut out something that you said?
No, I mean, they didn't give me but a few minutes, but I wanted to say that Lynn was white. I mean, because of Lynn, my son plays ball now in college. And when I trained him, basketball was the last sport I wanted him to play because it's so saturated. Mm-hmm. But being around Lynn and the efforts and his diligence of playing, that's how I trained my son. And luckily, it paid off. And every time I would train my son, I would talk about Lynn. You know, luckily, my son was able to get a full scholarship to go away and play ball now. And it's because of Lynn and because of his work ethic that I took that on and put it into my son. Because I wasn't a big basketball player. I mean, I played and this and that, but Lynn was obsessed with it. And that's what I gave to my son. And I thank Lynn for that. And I thank again Ms. Bias for all the things she's done for the community. But yeah.
What team does your son play on?
He plays for a team called Assumption University in Boston, Massachusetts. He plays point guard. He can shoot his butt off. I built a basketball court in the backyard with a big University of Maryland M on the court, you know, because of Lynn, you know, and because we grew up on that campus. But I know we got to get out of here. But we can talk again another day about this, man. But he was an awesome dude all the way around, man. I wish I could talk more about it, but he was just an awesome dude all the way around.
Well, I know he's smiling down at you with the establishment you got and the blessing that you provided for other people like us. So we appreciate you.
For sure,
Definitely.
man. For sure.
And
for
to
sure.
everybody watching, man, especially if you're from the DMV, go and do your research on Len Bias. Not just his death, but just his life, what he did for basketball. People like Jesse Jackson are involved in his entire image and everything he did for the game and for black culture. So
the impact on PG County.
Go and research it, y'all. But man, thank you.
Oh, great.
Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again on the front row.
Front row seats, baby.
Appreciate y'all.